All right, so now we're ready to tackle task number 3. So what we have on here is rows of data with the town name, the county it belongs to. So that's like the larger surrounding collection. For example, our county is Ulster County, the population of the town, and the size in square miles. Okay? So what we're going to take a look at on here is a bunch of different questions involving this data. How many counties are in this data set? So we need to count how many unique counties exist within here. How many towns with larger than 10,000 people population? How many towns larger than 50 square miles? So that's the size of the town or how much space it takes up. All right. How many towns are in Ulster County? So that's in our county. We had that done for us. So we'll peek into that when we want to tackle how many towns are in Orange County. And finally, we have a question. What is the population of all of New York State? So what we're going to do is we're going to tackle a couple of these right now. I think since we have this example already solved for us for the towns in Ulster County, I'm going to double click to see what it looks like, and then we can continue that logic into how many towns are in Orange County. So I'm going to double click. All right, let's see what it says. Equals count if. Okay, that makes sense. We want to count the number of items, and the if word allows us to put in a specific requirement. And they did that on B2 through B934. There are 934 rows on this. Let's scroll down to see how far that goes. My goodness, is this a large data set. But on the bright side, we know that 934 is the last row. So when we're writing these out, we don't have to draw that box that goes all the way down. We could instead just write in 934 as that last row value. So let's look at this again. Count if B2 through B934, comma, Ulster. Okay, I think we can repeat that logic for this next one. Let's double click into the Orange County, and let's write that equation out. Equals count if, parentheses, B2 colon B934, comma, and instead of us putting in Ulster, we put in Orange, and the quotes and the parentheses, and we're going to press enter. All right, so we have 21. I'm not going to sit here and count that number, but I would imagine that seems pretty reasonable since Orange County and Ulster County are similar sizes. All right, let's see what else we can tackle. How many counties are in this data set? So let's take a look at this. I'll double click in and remove it. We want to figure out how many counties are in here. So there's a lot of different ways we could tackle it, but I think the easiest and most appropriate way is the count unique function that we learned. So I'm going to say equals count unique, parentheses, and then I have to describe which row I'm looking at, or which column I'm looking at. So that's the vertical piece on here. So it's going to be B2 as our starting one, and then we're going to go all the way down to B934. I'm going to end the parentheses because we don't put any specific rules in, and I'm going to press enter. There are 57 unique counties in this data set. That sounds about right. All right, let's look at our next one. How many towns with larger than a population of 10,000 people? I think we need to go back to our count if for this. So I'm going to double click, get rid of that question mark. I'm going to put in equals count if, parentheses. Now, we need to look at this column of population. So we want to put in for this one, C2 colon C934, because remember, that's how many rows we have going down. I put a comma, and we have to put in our requirement. Well, they just said populations larger than 10,000 people, so greater than 10000, because that's 10,000. We end our quotations on it, and then we end our parentheses. When I press enter, we see that we have 157 towns that have a population larger than 10,000. I think you can extend that same logic for how many towns larger than 50 square miles, so you would be using column D to figure that out. And then what we have on here is what is the population of all of New York State? Well, I think we could tackle that by finding the sum from this cell, B or C2, going all the way down to C934. We looked at this in some previous tasks, so this is something you should be able to figure out. If you have questions, be sure to post them. Be sure to ask me and reach out if you need any assistance. All right, wishing you the best of luck with this. Take your time, take a breath during each of these solutions as you find them, and make sure that you figure out the equations and the formulas that make this work.